Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Boozer here. In this video, we're gonna go over another really good Hydra Provoker. I know I have a bit of a trend going on with my recent videos, basically showcasing Hydra champions, mainly Provokers, because Provokers feel like they're like a necessity for obviously Hydra. Yeah, these are some of the less obvious ones, I guess, but they're obvious, but they're very good. And when I do these kinds of showcases, these are champions that I use. I don't really just build champions for a video, and I don't gear them in my best gear. So these all these videos are like basically champions that I would fully endorse, I fully use, and they're in gear that I use on my account. So it's like less of a like a top showcase, but it's more of a how I use this champion on my account. And lately I've been focusing a lot on Hydra Provokers. So in this video I'm going to talk about one of my favorite Provokers, Maulie. So this is my Maulie. I recently just rebuilt her because I was so lazy. In the past I still used her for Hydra in my old arena shield set build. So this is my newly built Maulie. She is now in a regeneration set, which is basically just a set that gives her some healing when she takes a turn. Here are her total stats. Her base HP isn't super high, so it's not super easy to scale her up, but 60k HP is still quite decent. She has good base defense. This is decent defense. You don't really need to go too much more because she's not going to do too much damage. You need good speed on her. I would recommend at least 250. If you can do 270, 275, even better. You want her to cycle back to her abilities as soon as possible. On this build, I highly recommend resistance. So this is the exact Maulie that I wanted to build for a long time, except I was just so lazy to pull her gear off and gear her in this way. I also didn't want to commit all my regeneration gear to this build, just because I only really use Maulie in Hydra. And I wanted to use the regeneration gear in other places, but I had enough laying around that I can just put this build together. So you want high resistance on her because whenever she uses her A2, she does place a reflect damage buff on herself, which often gives her an extra buff, which will lure the Head of Mischief into attacking her and stripping her of her buffs. So you want her to have resistance to resist that, and 450 for Nightmare I would say is the minimum. Ideal would be probably 500, but 450 to 500 is recommended for Nightmare difficulty. You scale that stat down. You scale all these stats down depending on the difficulty of Hydra that you're doing, and I recommend at least 330 accuracy for Nightmare difficulty at least. Okay, so I got her at 350 accuracy. So I guess if you guys need a quick skill rundown, her A1, it's kind of like, okay, she doesn't really do much on her A1. Her A2 is her moneymaker. She has Provoke that bypasses Poison Cloud, so bypasses weak hits, and has a chance to go 2 turns. Most Provokes are only 1 turn because Provoke's such a strong debuff, but she has a chance to do it for 2 turns, 50%. If you do a 2 turn, it really helps because it gives her a chance to cycle back really quickly. However, my build is built so that she has a good chance to get back to her build regardless, and she's in a team that will help her speed back into her into this off the cooldown as quite consistently. And then she places a 30% reflect damage buff on herself. That buff doesn't really do anything other than give her an extra buff that attracts the mischief head, which makes her a great mischief tank if you can stack the resist on her. Her final skill, she has a single target revive, 50% HP, and then fill turn meter 50%. Also plays block damage. Block damage is really good in Hydra, so it gives them a chance to recover, get the turn back. It's on a 4-turn cooldown, and I mean, she fully deserves books if you can get away from not booking her A1. So yeah, if you're lucky, 5 books. And her passive is also very, very good. Fills the turn meter of all your allies by 15% when your champion is hit. when this champion is hit. Fill a turn meter with all allies by 25% when this champion is hit by a boss. So Hydra's the boss, 25% turn meter for your whole team, 1 turn cooldown. Really, really nice. It's kind of like Seeker's like turn meter boost, except she does it passively. But of course, Seeker has a stronger boost and can cycle back to his move faster. So they're similar in that way. But she does speed up your team. So if your team actually doesn't have speed up buff available for whatever reason, this turn meter fill is kind of like you know, a way to speed up your team. So as you can clearly see, she has Provoke plus mischief tanking ability, revive, and turn meter boost. So she's very strong for Hydra as a team support. She doesn't do any damage on her own, so she's purely just for support. I have her in a 4-piece regen set. She is built with resistance. She has a refresh amulet. If you have refresh, that's really good because it gives her a chance to get her provoke skill back if you need it. Masteries, these are my arena masteries. I never really changed them. They're probably not optimal for Hydra. However, I do recommend defense support because War Master will not help her that much because she only has her A1 for War Master. Yeah, so I think regen works really well on her. You could go perception plus immortal. You can go all immortal, but I do recommend a way to heal up passively without leech or another teammate healing her. What I ran into when I was running pure shield set no healing was that she just couldn't heal and then she would die, and you don't want your reviver to die, so definitely give her some healing from gear. Ideally, I would recommend at least an immortal, at least one immortal set. Yeah, she's relatively tanky, so she won't die very easily, but definitely give her some healing though. So regen, and then yeah, I just had a run with her with this new build, and I gotta say it's awesome. The resistance makes her a consistent mischief tank. So she soaks up the mischief attack and she resists the steel, leaving the mischief head much less effective. So, and she was fully healed up the whole time because of the regeneration set and her natural tankiness. So yeah, I think this build's really strong. So if you guys have a Maulie, definitely take her out and give her a spin in Hydra. I'll show you guys a quick run I have with her. Alright, so this is the team I'm running with her. This is on Nightmare, by the way. So Necmo, speed up, speed down, leech, attack down, turn meter boost, Maulie for provoke, Husk for damage plus provoke, Geo for damage, Shamail for torment plus damage. He's built in damage, and then Ugo for decreased defense and block buffs. Okay, so this team, not full auto, just because I was running into some situations with the Head of Wrath, mainly because Ugo is weak affinity to Head of Wrath. So if she misses the block buffs, it gets really nasty. And this team doesn't have that much healing or survivability if the Head of Wrath and the Poison head both pop out and they start laying down the big AoEs right after each other. So it just worked out that I kind of autoed half of it and then I picked it up manual the rest. I don't think it's a big deal. The run is relatively fast, and it hit the 1 key at about 20 minutes, which is still reasonable. So I'm just going to let it run and then you guys can watch it. Speed that up. So you gotta make sure that the block buffs actually lands, and especially since this Head of Decay is force affinity, it makes it a little bit kind of dicey on some provokers. But like I said, Maulie doesn't get weak hit because it's a place provoke. Of course, she's spirit anyway. She wouldn't be weak hitting, but she never has that issue against any affinity. She's a good candidate to put into auto teams if that's what you're into, just because it's an area effect provoke and she does not weak hit. Although Geomancer is not a good candidate for autoing runs because he places the HP burn suboptimally. All right, so we'll let this one go, and I'll see you guys at the end of it. All right, we're nearing the end of the run here. So with this team, this is my first manual run, and then we got the 1 key, and I'm totally gonna just keep it. I did try to auto it twice before this, and then I just kind of ran out of patience and time, so I just decided to manual it, and then we got the results. The run was going pretty good, and then we lost Nekmothar, and then obviously the engine to this team was gone, so nothing we can do about that. But I'm fully confident that this team would probably full auto if given some good RNG with the Ugo and the Head of Wrath block buffs. But as you can clearly see, Maulie doesn't do any damage. Husk Geomancer pulling the weight. Inquisitor Shamel, we did get some Torment spawn, so that was very helpful. Sometimes pure provokers, you really want to bring somebody that can bring additional benefit. So if you're bringing a provoker in, either they do some damage, or they do some healing, or they provide some kind of debuff. Like for example, Skull Lord Vargal, he brings attack down, and Bivol brings leech and shields. So Maulie, the way she works is that she actually brings a revive, turn meter boost, and she brings the ability to target the mischief attack. So basically, when the mischief is out, you want to use the reflect damage, the provoke move, even when there is no head of decay on the board. So you're provoking nothing, and you're purely just adding the the reflect damage buff on Maulie, and then that will attract the head of mischief to attack Maulie. So that's kind of like one way to utilize her as the mischief tank. Obviously she's there for turn meter and revive as well. But you see here, this team's relatively, I guess, free-to-play friendly. We're doing Nightmare difficulty after all, so I do expect you to have some good gear at this point. Maulie's from the token trader, but obviously she was an old fusion, I believe, back in the day. Long old champion. You got 4 epics, obviously very good team overall. One of the teams that I just use all the time anyways. So I'll show you guys the team real quick here. You guys are interested. So you got Nekmo in the taunt set. He's the backup taunter. Maulie in regen, I showed that earlier. Relentless Shameo, he does a bit of damage, not super fast. Geomancer in Relentless as well, he's decently fast. And Husk in Relentless, and he's decently fast with enough stats to do damage. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope this showed you guys how good Maulie is. I know people know that Maulie is, obviously good in arena, and she brings a really good provoke and support abilities. But for Hydra, she's actually very viable. I mean, we're doing Nightmare here, so I think if I continue to manual, I probably would have squeezed another 10 mil out pretty easily. But yeah, I let it run auto after we got the 1 key, so that I just did something else. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the showcase. If you guys have any ideas for future showcases, let me know in the comments below. If you guys don't like these showcases, let me know as well. I will try to be a little bit more varied in my champions, but like I said, I only show champions that I use or have used, and I find the videos are helpful for people with those champions, can make use of them. So, I just want to share my experience, share my roster a little bit on what works or worked for me in the past. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a good day. I'll see you guys in the next video.